5 pick and roll. DeAndre, pop, pick, whatever. Okay. These Nets are going to be outstanding, Jacoby. I can't wait to see the show.
Jalen, you make a good point about the Bucks' consistency, the Bucks being on the precipice in the playoffs and not advancing, and it seems like they're ripe to win this Eastern Conference. They'll likely have the best record in the Eastern Conference, and I'm going to do the thing where I fall for the hot new thing in the conference. I think when you have James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and KD, and then you've got Joe Harris with catch and shoot threes. You got DeAndre Jordan rim protecting and catching the lobs you mentioned. This, to me, is the favorite to win the East. These Brooklyn Nets. It's not even close to me. You know what? Everyone can talk about their defense. They're not going to play defense. They're going to play lots and lots and lots of offense, and I would pick these Nets to win the Eastern Conference right now as we sit here today. That is my favorite for sure.
You know, if I was writing the script, I would want all of the drama. Stephen King style, dog. So, of course, the Nets and the Lakers, KD, LeBron, AD, Kyrie, Harden, like the Laker brand, of course that would be outstanding for the NBA. But Milwaukee,
Jalen.
I got y'all. Milwaukee,
Jalen.
I got y'all.
Jalen.
Who gonna get in the Greek Freak's way? Yes,
Jalen,
sir.
it's a big news on a day like today. There's always a lot of eyeballs on the show, especially in those executive corner. Back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen, the big James Harden trade changed the face of the NBA, but one team that it definitely impacted were LeBron James and the Lakers. They beat the Thunder yesterday, as everyone expected them to, but you know there were some conversations in the locker room about this championship favorite now having a new stocked up 3-superstar contender. What do you think the impact of this move is on LeBron and the Lakers?
LeBron the OG. And you know what I appreciate about his leadership in today's NBA? He showed everybody the game, whether you wanted to hate it or not. And again, you know, I have a passion for the league, and I love to see all-time great players try to find a way to overcome turbulence where they are, like a Dame Lillard, like a Giannis, and stay with their current team. And see a guy like Dirk win a championship. But once LeBron James went to Miami, he ushered a different way, Jacoby, and guys was watching and listening. And not just because Rich Paul is a terrific agent and becoming one of the best ones in the game, but now also basketball-wise, you don't have to stay at a team for a really long time. If you guys get a chance to join up and get it done, make it happen. And Kevin Durant sat back and watched. Kyrie sat back and watched. Harden sat back and watched. And we talked about players defecting from the West. That's another thing I want to give LeBron credit for. You know why that needs to take place? Because they ain't winning it out there. Not this year. Not with AD and LeBron if they healthy. We know if everybody healthy this year, who gonna win it? You know, and I know. And so based on them putting this squad together, it's like we got the hero in LeBron James, and can he ascend continuously in the GOAT conversation? And then you're gonna have that East Coast villain. Can they take down the beloved King James? And it's gonna be amazing for us to watch and follow the entire year. I can't wait till we have a doubleheader with the Nets on first and then the Lakers on second. You see what I'm saying? That's what we got now in the game.
There's so much drama, and I think that you point out something that's important is LeBron couldn't get it done in Cleveland. We all know this history, but then we got Bosh and we got Wade, big three in Miami. And then he goes back to Cleveland. Andrew Wiggins, you're gone. We're going to bring in Kevin Love, another big three. And then he goes out to LA and he said, you know what? I like this team. I like this young core, but I'll take one of the top 5 in Anthony Davis. And when you do that, you sort of force everybody else to do the same. And there's one thing about this particular deal that I think is not getting enough discussion, and that is the impact that it has not just on the Eastern Conference, but one of the teams that had their eyes on winning the Eastern Conference, the Philadelphia 76ers. There were advanced trade talks. Ben Simmons was reportedly on the table. Was he paired with Thibault? Was he paired with Maxey? What kind of picks were in the package? And the Rockets decided not to add Ben Simmons. Jalen, do you think the Sixers made a mistake by not being aggressive in adding James Harden to their team to compete in the Eastern Conference?
So a lot of times we're going to look back at trades and try to figure who won the trade. Let me keep it plain and simple. it's the team that gets the best player. So if you got a chance to get James Harden in his prime, you do everything you can to team him with Joel Embiid. You try to do that, Jacoby. And I bet it's a little bit tougher when the person that's making the phone call is Daryl Morey,
Yep.
who used to be the GM of the squad that you're trying to get a deal done with. And they didn't necessarily leave on the best terms, Morey and D'Antoni, with ownership. So therefore, if you look at both deals on paper, like you did, you was like, wait a minute, maybe that deal looks a little better. But then I threw something else out there to you that you really got to consider. Ben Simmons still isn't taking shots outside of the paint. And as long as he's not taking shots outside of the paint, now you got to try to, I'll give you Maxey. I'll give you Thibault. Now you got to try to go deeper into your roster to get the deal done. That's why I ultimately think that it did not happen.
Well, and also from the Rockets' perspective, it seems like when just a few weeks ago they were in a win-now mode, they want to add Wood, and they've got Gordon, they've got James Harden, they've got Wall. So now, if you look at what they got back in the James Harden trade, they worked LeVert into Oladipo, who's on expiring, and they got 4 first-round picks, 4 swaps. They've got draft assets until 2026, and who knows what the world's even going to look like in 2026. What does this move tell you about the Rockets' strategy as they move forward in this decade?
And also, again, these are all dominoes by the 3 best players, LeBron and AD, teaming up, Kawhi, wanting to team up with Paul George. And then you see what they needed to give up in order to make that deal happen. So that became a barometer. When you have an MVP player like James Harden, you got to at least come with the 4 picks. They're going to be later in the first round, and you mentioned the swaps. But again, for the Rockets, it's like we get Victor Oladipo. He was just all NBA. Let's see if he could get healthy and become our future player in the backcourt, along with John Wall, who's already under contract. If we think we can re-sign him to top dollar and he's healthy, we do that. If we feel like he don't want to be here and we think he might leave, they might consider flipping him. And so they now, like you said, you can go to try to make the playoffs, or you can go to try to continue to build towards the future. So I like what the Rockets did. You're not going to get an equal player in return for James Harden. But of the teams that I felt that they were going to deal with, Victor Oladipo is a pretty good approximation.
At 10 p.m., we have the Pelicans going up against
Look
LeBron
at the
and the Lakers.
Pelicans
That is
fly.
at 10 p.m. Both those are on ESPN on Friday night. Jalen, there's so much news in the NBA regarding this trade, but you know me, I like to go a little bit negative. And I'm looking at this for Brooklyn, and I'm looking at one thing. Take a look at the timing of the salaries of these 3-star players. You'll notice that after next season, they all can opt out. So after giving away their entire draft pick future and some of their young stars like LeVert and Allen, they could be left with absolutely nothing after next season. Jalen, is this too much of a gamble for your guy Kiwi, Sean Marks, the GM of the Brooklyn Nets?
Not at all, because we're going to be looking up over the next couple of years, and all of those dudes going to be signing $200+ million deals. Like, this is about to be special, Jacoby, what they're doing with the Nets.
Good thing the owner of the Nets has very deep pockets, because he's going to be paying the luxury tax if that is the case. Now, Jalen, there's so much going on in the NBA, but there's something going on in your personal life that we need to shed a special spotlight on. What exactly is that?